Welcome back to TotallyT. Thank you so much for watching part 1 and 2. And if you have not, please back up. This is something that you can understand, you need to understand. And as Anita would say, provide yourself health assurance. In this part, we're going to be talking about what about our furry friends, our beloved animals? What about drugs and chemicals that we're putting in our body? How can we neutralize with frequencies? Are we just treating symptoms versus being proactive? Because I can guarantee you, if not, you will eventually have to become reactive. You've watched part 1 and part 2. You know we've talked about different disorders or diseases. Now we're actually going to mention sleep disorders and mental health. So please listen in, educate yourself, enjoy. I want to talk about our furry friends. We actually had one of our dogs got bit by a brown recluse spider. And let me tell you, that spreads so fast, that damaged skin, and like from one day to the next, well, actually within 12 hours, it went from nearly a nickel size to a quarter size hole. And we knew that it was really bothering the dog. But guess what? It's on a Sunday. What do we do? And guess what I did? I called Kathy and said, what do I do? I need the exact right frequency. So we did our home remedies and we ran the right frequencies. But I noticed that when we started doing the treatment, and we had it running all night on him, do you know what? He never turned around to lick himself or check his wound. He never did. And of course we did take him to the vet the next morning and got him all fixed up. But that is extremely painful if you've ever been bit by a brown recluse. Mm-hmm. So I know that's how I've used it. Kathy, you mentioned 27,000 patients. Some of those patients were actually horses.
Right.
Pigs, dogs, that type of thing. Why don't you explain your experience with that? I think that's quite interesting.
Well, I get to work with some of the top veterinarians and people that own animals that are high performance animals. We actually have a medical device that we use, and that medical device, we put it with almost 100, right at 100 cutting horses. They're very top expensive horses. Some of them are $500,000. And we've had the ability to help with healing a wound quickly, helping them rehab quickly, helping swelling in the area, helping them muscle tone an atrophied muscle. And it has done amazing. So to me, an animal is just another person. They have muscles and bones and nerves and tendons and swelling and injuries and so forth, just like people do. So I've had the opportunity to be around a lot of animals. I've also worked with a lot of dogs and veterinarians that own all kinds of animals. You mentioned I did have a show goat that we used it on that has done absolutely amazing. We've worked on people that have on cows where the hock swelled up, and somebody had changed the feed and they kind of foundered, and it got this big swelling in the joint, the hock of it, and we could put frequencies around that and just take that out and save the sale because they were actually selling this animal. We always take videos, so all those are fun, so we get to put it to real life. And then, so animals are really good, but I want to mention, because a while ago you guys, Anita and Tony, were talking about injuries. I think Dr. Anita was. So I work with a lot of sports medicine clinics as well, in high school athletic trainers and physical therapists and so forth, medical doctors that are in the wound therapy clinics and so forth. We can help a wound, and that's, it's pretty broad to say, but I can take most everybody we work with and help them heal about 50% faster. So I actually was able to put like 250 schools in the Texas area that have our equipment that are treating sports injuries. And the idea in sports, as you know, is get them back on the field or the court faster. And so when we do that, it just makes your body perform better. It's not we're doing hocus pocus on it, is we're making your body function better and be able to heal itself without the drugs and without the chemicals. So animals do good, people do good, injuries do good, post-surgery does good. And so it's just an avenue to accelerate your own capabilities to make things function better in your body, give it back balance, give it back the ability to heal itself really quickly without all the drugs and chemicals. I am not against the drugs and chemicals, but I'd love to do it first without it, and you can always go back and add the drugs with it. What do you think, Anita?
My experience also with athletes is that I could bring them in right after injuries at a game or an event. I could come in and take care of the lactic acid buildup in their muscles, and then you get an injury on top of, because even working the muscles is the amount of injury itself. So now we're talking about injury recovery and also just athletic recovery. And when you can negate that, you can get somebody who can be on the field the next day. And the body's in a magnificent machine, as Tony said earlier. It's a magnificent machine that's designed to really, it works 24/7. It doesn't take a schedule. Is that it's about making sure that you've got the right frequency going on. If you need a reset, get a reset. If you need to get some pathways opened so that oxygen, minerals, nutrients, everything is actually utilized in the body to make that energy in that section. It doesn't matter if you're a 4-legged mammal or a 2-legged mammal, it works. And when those things can come together, the results can be astounding. We are not here to make claims, to prevent, to heal, to cure, any of those things. That is not what we do. We train you to where you can get the information. We teach you how to get the information and then how to implement the information. Because once again, wisdom is the implementation of knowledge.
I suspect that you're probably wondering right now, it's like, do I really need to take a college course on frequencies and ATPs and cellular healing and microwaves? No, you don't. Because what we actually can offer you is a way to get the healing to the cells, and you don't even have to know or understand. Like, do you know how your car was built? Do you have to know how to fix your car? To get into your car, press start. I have a button. Press start. Or turn on the ignition and drive. No, you don't have to understand how your car runs to actually drive your car. So that is what we have found. Now, Kathy and I and Anita have used different devices to help put the frequencies through to the right cells and provide some type of repair work. And seen, as we've just stated, we've seen this time and time again, over and over and over. My mom's ribs, when she broke them, she recovered in half the time, and she's 78 years old. So we see this all, it's not a surprise because we've seen this over and over. But how is someone that's just learning about this, how do we know if we're getting the right frequencies? What's going on? Well, this is the official product review. This is my top, it's my favorite. Guess who has read all of the studies, all the science behind it. You just heard her story and why she wants to do this. You know her background. So Kathy, let's tell them what product we found that is a wearable, and it pretty much can just run itself and give you exactly what you need without you having to know this is the frequency I have to have. Kathy, could you explain?
This is the newest thing that hit the United States. It hit May 1st. So this is considered a wearable frequency device. And there's some real unique features about it because, again, it's all about accuracy. This frequency device goes up to 1 million hertz. So hertz is a vibrational rate. And so that, remember I talked earlier about how large a range it is. We want to have a wide range because frequencies do different things with different cells with different frequencies. I don't have to know what this does because it's got this little scanner on the back inside it, and it has the ability to scan your quantum field. It's called a quantum sensor. And you actually can hold this in my hand. I can turn it on with my cell phone. It goes into the cloud. First of all, it scans your whole body. It gives you recommendations of what the worst things or priorities are in your body. And then it comes back with these programs that you could use to repair those type things. And, or I would say better balance it and get it healthy again. Resonate the right frequencies. So it goes up into the cloud, it grabs those programs, those frequencies out. You disconnect because we don't like Wi-Fi very long. I think it maybe takes 30 seconds or something. Grab it from off of the cloud, and then you can cut it off your phone, and then it's a wearable unit to go do that. It has a couple of different abilities that we can talk about later if you want to, but basically this is a cool little device, and it's this big. So that's kind of the first one we ever know that's a wearable unit that gives frequencies of such a large range. So what do you think, Tony?
You have to have the right tool for the job. And so we three have different devices that we've been using for frequencies, and they have their point and their purpose. This is the first wearable device, and this is what has happened to me is like, I can't sit around and get connected to this device, and I need to run. Wow, that's like 2-3 hours worth of treatments, and I have to have it. Well, I guess I'll broadcast it while I sleep, or, while I'm going to bed, I'll get myself hooked up, and it's just very restrictive. And then you have 5-year-olds that you can't keep still long enough to get the treatment that they need with those frequencies. This is a solution that is none other. It is wonderful. I know I've heard everybody's testimonies and what they're getting from that, and you don't have to know exactly how it works, which frequencies need to run, how long it needs to run. It takes care of itself, and I think this is amazing. It's my top choice when it comes to this. Like we said, you got to have a toolbox. You got to know what you need to use, when you need to use it, how you need to use it. But this just covers so many issues that we've had before, because you can actually wear it and take it with you, and it does it for you.
I've actually used another product for 12 years. It is probably, I think, one of the very best ones on the market. Tony's been really exposed to that as well. This portable unit kind of takes some of that programmability out of that specific frequencies, but it chooses them back because it body scans and gives you what you need rather than you making choices. So a good example, if I have a liver problem, you have a liver problem, they may not be the same liver problem, but it may show up something in your immunity case or in your body with immunity or something like that. The scanning, the sensor picks that up, and it chooses that to kind of work inside the liver, although you and I are different. We unplug, but also inside the program, it's analyzing full time. So it's actually looking at it, and it's choosing 1 second frequency, 3 minutes frequencies, 14 seconds frequencies, other things that we normally would choose and say, oh, we need this much. Well, now it took it all away from you. Right. So this is one of the things I think is cool. That's just kind of, I guess, from a product review thing, is that what I see most in medicine is people treat symptoms. Yes. If you've got bleeding and pain coming in your urine, you're going to say, I have a kidney infection, right? Or a bladder infection. But you're already at the point of having that symptom. I want to say, in bioenergetics or in the energy world, we want to treat you before you have that symptom. Well, there's frequency devices out here everywhere, including the large one that I use that has 1 million frequencies. That is, to me, the amazing thing on the market. But how many times am I going to sit down there and treat my kidney before I ever know I need my kidney treated? Or how many times am I going to do mental health type stuff before I go take an exam to increase my acuity or my focus? You know, we just don't do it preventatively like we should. But guess what? When you have something that you can go for a walk with it on it, you can be running things. If you've got a history of some mental disorder in your family, you can maybe choose something, or you can let the device choose it. And in that, you can go run things preventatively, which is what medicine should all be about. We're not about treating symptoms. We wait too long. The symptom is already, we have it already in our body. We already affecting it, and we ought to be treating it ahead of time. This is a real ace for that, although it does do symptoms as well. Yeah, what do you think, Anita?
So, you know, there's a device now that doctors' offices that people can go on and they can stand on and they can rotate and they can do a complete body image scan. and it goes into the tissues of the body. So that has a logistical limitation. I see this as something that is completely mobile, can be 24/7, 365, anywhere you are, that is fabulous information. I'm just, as you're talking, my mind is racing, that you could actually put this on a four-legged mammal and do the very same thing.
Right.
Because we can put pads on horses, because I happen to be a cowgirl from Montana and have trained horses a few days of my life. You know, I basically trained and treated every animal in my world. The cats, the dogs, the cows, the horses, and anything else that was living and breathing around me. And I see a lot of use here for all mammals. I think the mental value of this is going to be proven as time goes on. That intrigues me when you're talking about you could actually treat depression as people are walking around. Man, we need to get like 7.1 billion of these right now. When we can come in and fix this resonance, the body, I believe, and scientifically has been proven, that it can correct some, even at the DNA level, some of those things can be reprogrammed, repaired, get rid of dis-ease, unbalance, imbalance, not functioning.
I understand we're going through a very difficult period globally right now. So many people are in a state of fear and panic, but make sure that you're spending more time with your family, with your friends, going for the walks and speaking about positive, uplifting things. All these little things make a difference, because when you get into a state of fear, what happens? Like physically, what happens to you? You can go into a state of depression. You can go into an anxiety attack. Your cortisol levels raise. Your whole body starts getting thrown off. You're taking in all these terrible frequencies with the technology that we must use, because that's the way the world operates. So this is one tool that we are talking about today, is a wearable technology that helps to combat these things. I've heard this word preventative my whole life. The way I identify it is being proactive, because we do know that we are being exposed to various things that can harm our health, harm our bodies, harm our brains. So when we have a wearable technology that helps us, then that's being proactive, because I can guarantee you, you will have to be reactive at some point in time. I personally would rather to be proactive, and this is a tool that you need in your toolbox.
Again, we need to be able to do something preventatively if we can. I worked with a lady the other night, and she says, my husband and I are really good health. We just sent our kids off to college, and they've come back for the first semester and so forth, and they're kind of back at home again. And she said, I want to keep the ability to stay focused and driven and have energy and not have to lay around. And so that aspect of having frequencies preventatively. And now I'm not saying what we're doing is unique. I'm saying how we're doing it is unique, because frequencies just generally work in your body that way if you get the right frequency. But typically we are trying to sit down and be attached to something, or have something in our hand, or be, connected, instead of being able, you can walk around with it. And you can, by the way, actually connect this as well. So if you have some kind of pain issue or something, you want to put it on your knee or something, you can do that. But it's being able to do something preventatively for yourself. And I see that as taking the next step. This actually has a little watch that goes with it, kind of like the little phone. You can't check your emails on it, and you can't talk on it, but it's kind of like a little Fitbit on steroids. It also has a scanning ability built into it as well. So, this is kind of advanced. It has some programs that you can add multiple more and more things inside it, like digital nutrition. where it analyzes what your nutritional status is in it. And that's a real plus for me because I love digital nutrition, in that to be able to scan and say you're deficient in vitamin D or B or whatever. As far as the body scan shows, it finds a priority in your nutritional status. So, this just takes it to a new level. But from the wellness side, it's a kickstart with people saying, I need to be focusing this well before I'm ill. And, so one of the common thing when I work with patients, they say, well, why haven't we ever heard of this before? And I've said, just pay attention. It's everywhere. So I go back a long time. I have a friend that's been a psychologist for a long time. And he said, we've used frequencies for a long time for anxiety and focus and ADDs and ADHDs and things but especially now we have the ability to work for PTSD and those sleep disorders. That's big. If you don't sleep, you don't heal. That's just all it is to it. You're sleeping 1 hour a night, I promise you your body's not going to heal itself. It's the downtime in your body where the right toxins are removed and the right emphasis from the brain happens for the relaxation for your body to take care of itself. You don't have it, you're done. So what are you doing for your sleep?
I did have a terrible time getting to sleep. So I can testify to that. Frequencies work. I am so glad that you joined us for part 1 through 3, our interview with Kathy Strand. So let's review real quickly. You've heard some personal experiences of ours along with our animals. Also, you learned how to neutralize the negative effects of frequencies and where are those sources coming from. Also, what's the difference of just treating symptoms versus being proactive? We also talked about recovering from injuries. Listen, this is the only wearable device that you can use to treat as you go. Go off and do your daily activities and get the frequencies you need. We would love to hear back from you on your personal experiences using this wearable device. Please look in the description box below for the link and also our contact information. Good health to you. So glad you joined.